So good afternoon, everyone. So I am Lionel, and so we are not so many in the room today. Stefan is not able to was not able to be in Dallas, so it should be remotely. Yeah, I will. So I will need first of all one volunteer for minute taker, and I will also need someone in the Jabber room. So okay, and anyone volunteer for any minute will be good. So don't be afraid. I think that they will not. It should not be too much discussion, so you can easily volunteer.
That's okay. Would you like to do a minute taker? I would do the Jabber scribing.
Okay. Yeah, you can say. So thanks for volunteering. Yeah, so I was saying that I am Lionel Morand. I'm the new co-chair of the Radext instead of Uni. So I was involved in the group for a long time ago, and since a long time, and I'm also chair of the DIME working group dealing with the diameter protocol. And so, more people. So I was saying that Alan is not there; he's traveling right now, and Sam should be following the session remotely, and Stefan too. So I don't know if the Mikeko is already on, but we will see. Sorry? No, it's just the beginning. So first of all, we have the Note well, so you should be aware of that. So just to know that if you have any IPR and so on, you have to mention that, to declare that. So the proposed agenda is the following one. So we will go through the agenda batching first, and we will review also the document status, mainly for the working group document. And after that, we will try to have a discussion about the ongoing draft. So we have a presentation from Dean on the IP port configuration and reporting. So we will go through this one. And Sam would like to have some discussion about the other draft on larger packets for radius over TCP. So I hope that Sam will be able to say something using the Mikeko solution. We will have an open discussion about the individual draft discussion because, as you have seen on the mailing list, there is a proposal for restarting the working group. So it is proposed to add 3 new topics and to rely on 3 existing documents as a working group document. So we will see that, and we will have the discussion about the new charter at the end. Anything to add to the proposed agenda or to modify? No, so I go on. So since the last IETF meeting, actually the IETF 91st, there is no published RFC yet, but we have 2 documents in the RFC editor queue. We have the network access identifier that is almost published. We are still waiting for some reviewer for the INI allocation, so we need an expert reviewer, but it should be done soon. And we have the radius packet fragmentation that is already also ready for publication, but there is still some discussion with the RFC editor to catch some editor needs in the documents. but it should be soon submitted. So there is a mistake in the next step. The next step should be for both RFC publication. At the IESG level, we had a discussion about the NAE so the dynamic peer discovery based on NAE. The last call was completed at the end of this week, and no comments were received, but we need also expert reviews for INR allocation, and we are still waiting, I think, from so the last comment. No, it was for the network access identifier. So there is no comment received, so it should go through IEG evaluation. So it is planned for the next IEG telechat, so we will see the output of that. So next week, I think, or in 2 weeks.
4/9.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's on the good track. For the working group items, we have the larger packet for Radius over TCP, so we will have a discussion for that. No change since, sorry, a new version was provided at the beginning of the month. All the non-comments were captured in the new version, so it should be ready for working group last call. We will see if there is agreement for that. And the next step would be, after the working group last call, the IEG submission. And we will have a specific presentation for IP port configuration and reporting. So we have a new version, version 3. So after exchange, mainly with Alan and the authors, there is a new version of the document capturing, first of all, the comments received, and also the new definition of the mapping between Radius TLB type and IP fixed elements. So this has been incorporated in the draft. So from the author point of view, it should be the document is stable and ready for working with last week. We will have a discussion at the end of the meeting on the proposal for the new work item. So we have 3 candidate documents. So the dynamic authorization proxying, that was not changed since the last IETF. But we have received some late comments based on the text providing for the new charter. So there is an ongoing discussion between Peter and Alan, mainly. We will see how to cope that. Peter is in the room? I don't think so. We have the EAP response identity, how to use this information. So no change in the last IETF, but it was agreed at the last IETF that it should be a working group document, so we will discuss that. And we have also the Radext type, data types, and same conclusion for this one. So now we have some time for the discussion of the working group draft. So we have 10 minutes or even 20, but 10 minutes should be okay. So yeah, I have the slides. You have the mic.
Okay. Good afternoon. This draft. Okay. This draft was. Next slide, please. The revision 3, and actually the draft was adopted exactly 1 year ago, and since then there are comments in the several meetings and also on the mailing list to help to shape the document, and then in particular the highlights. For example, the using the TRV for each data field, and that one was fixed in the 01 revision. And then the last meeting, there was a major comment to suggest to use the IP fix instead of defining the Radext itself. But to do that requires some mapping. So that comment was also incorporated and then reflected in the 03 revision of the text. Okay, so what I'm trying to say is on this slide, the status is reflecting all the comments so far from the London meeting and Toronto meeting, the Honolulu meeting, and also on the mailing list, all being taken care. Okay, so that's the status, and reflecting the 03 revision. Next slide, please. And then let me just go over, before I get to the point at which the major change in the 03 revision to reflecting the mapping between the TRV in the Radext and IP fix. So let me just review quickly. We're proposing 3 extensions for the Radext attributes: IP port limit attribute to configure the max number of the IP ports for the port device for a specific or all the IP address associated with the device. The number 2 is the port range, reporting back to the Radext server, and for particular specific IPv4 address, what port being allocated or deallocated. So that is the very useful attribute using the existing protocol to report back to the server. And then the last one, the IP forwarding map. If you're familiar with the PCP protocol, which allow a dynamically configure one or more port mapping, but here is using the Radext to configure a mapping between internal and external port associated with the internal or external IP v4 address. Okay, next one. So those are the highlights of the 3 attributes we're proposing. And then taking into account of the all the comments we received, so we modify the frame extension for the Radext as such: the type, links, and extended type, and then followed by values. So this format actually is following exactly what defined in the RFC 6929. Okay, so including type could be one chosen from the 241, 242, 243, 244, 244. That's up to the INA to decide. And then the extended type also defined, very well defined in the 6929. This is the application, how to use that. And finally, the value is a bunch of embedded TRVs, which we're proposing, and also according to the comments received from this working group. So this is the high-level packet format. Next. And then this is a list of the TRVs we're proposing. We have to support all the 3 extensions of the Radext attributes, and those attributes will contain one or more embedded TRVs. So these are the individual TRVs being defined. So actually there are no change in the 01 text. I'm not going to go through everything. Is to split internal IP address. Okay. The reason before that is because we now require to mapping between the Radext and then IP fix. And IP fix has internal IPv4 address and IPv6 address. So to accommodate that, then we split into 2 different TRV, but their semantics are the same. Only the address family is different. Okay, so these are the list of the TRVs we go. And then according to the RFC 6929, then there is a nice way to describe the identifiers, right? So it's a hierarchical structure there. For example, the IP port limit attribute. Okay, you have a type dot extended type dot IP port type TRV. Those are mandatory, right? And then the IP port limit TRV, of course, is mandatory because you are passing the information from the server to the port device, and then demand what is the port level, the port limit for a specific IP address, or maybe all the IP address configured on the device. And then these round bracket are the optional device. So this is just follow the RFC 6929, how to express the identifiers for the Radext attributes. Next one, please. So far there's no change there, all right? So this one is also no change there from the 01. And to describe for each attribute, we propose what are the mandatory optional TRVs. Okay, those also reflect to the identifier in the previous slide. So there's nothing. This is just a table format to maybe it's easy to read for some people. All right. So next one, please. So this is the new change that we put in the revision 3. The requirement we received from there's probably three people on the mailing list or in the meeting asking for the mapping using existing IP fix. So we have this highlighted here is in the IANA, the table for all assignments, okay, and then we have majority of the existing IP fix element or IDs, they are available, and then we only need to propose 3 more because we need 3 more. Currently is not defined by the IP fix. So we have this table to show all the TIVs we're proposing as the Radext extension and being embedded, contained in their attributes. How to map one-to-one mapping to the IP fix element. Okay, so it's very nice mapping here, but I have to point out in the IP fix there's a IP fix element ID which has the 16 bits number, all right, and then the TRV in the Radext is 8 bits. So we asking the IANA to approve this proposal is to mapping uniquely one-to-one mapping. So that's what, because there's no way to put a 16 bits number in the TRV defined in the according to 6929. So this is a one-to-one unique mapping. That's what we designed for. Okay, so this is the major change and update to the draft according to the comments. Any questions so far? So this slide is a major, right? And also the highlighted the 3 proposed transport type, net transport limit, and the last one local ID. Those 3 currently not defined by the IP fix, and we propose to be added. Next.
Okay, so
please.
Just
Okay.
so the recommendation for IANA will be to define the value for these 3 elements.
Yes.
Inside the 8-bit.
Yes, IP fix,
Right.
which has nothing to do with the Radext.
Okay.
Yeah. So those 3 things being proposed to be added to the IP fix. Okay. And then once being added, then we have a TRV defined in the Radext and the pointer to it. Okay. So one-to-one mapping is unique. All right. So we define, because once the TRV being approved, you have to assign number anyway, right? And those numbers are unique. And the things unique, then why not just point to another set of unique number, which is defined by the IP fix. So that's the concept there. All right. So okay, next one. So this is just to show, in order to make this work, then we have to propose to the IANA what I think is a totally 11 TRVs defined in the for the Radext extension to support the 3 extended attributes, and then also the reference in the document where those TRV being described. And then in particular, like the port type TRV, then there's 5 different values there, right? TCP UDP port plus ICMP identified, or TCP UDP port, or TCP port only, or UDP port only, or ICMP identified only. So those things are waiting for, once the last call being passed and then submit to the ISG, then those things are being waiting to the code point inside. All right. So this is one set of things that we are asking for IANA to approve. The next one, please. The next one is the 3 things that we're talking about, and those 3 things have nothing to do with the Radext. Is just solely added to the IP fix, and then to best describe a port device, right? So we need to add 3 more things, right? And then notice that in the current IP fix, the database, they already have net related parameters there, okay? Like a start point, end point, right? So here is a limit, then it's pretty much in the same category, and then I don't think that would be difficult to convince people this is important, because you already have some of the parameters already excuse me, define the net device, the port device behavior. Then there's 1 more, okay? And then because the net device, the port device, you operating on the IP transport port ID, right? So you have to tell people what the port, right? Because you have a different port number, right? You have TCP, UDP, you have identifier, and then currently in the net device, the port device, they all handle in in a uniform way. But it would be better to tell. Maybe some operator want to know what's the difference there. So this, I think, we think it's making sense to add this also there. Okay. So those three things are the suggestion to the INR to be added to the IPFix. Have nothing to do with the Radext, but however, once being added to IPFix, then we have a map, one-to-one mapping between this and then Radext here. Next one, please. Oh, you have a question?
No.
Oh, okay. All right. Sorry. I mean, I'm just too nervous, maybe. All right. Anyway, so this is the that's it, and introduction to what being changed in the revision 3. Okay. And as I said earlier, the draft has been adopted for a year, right? And then since then, almost every meeting, and then also on the mailing list, there have been comments. And every time the comments are being provided, we change the draft accordingly. And I was confident to say all the problems being resolved. So the authors think that the draft is pretty stable, and we're requesting for the
Thank you. So, question regarding the draft or the presentation? So, except the author in the room who had read the draft, this version or previous version anyway? Okay. Because for myself, for instance, I've not read the latest version, so specifically the mapping between TLV and IPFix elements. So this draft was submitted in February, right?
February, yes.
Yeah. And you haven't received any comment from Alan?
No. But he had lots of comments from the previous based on the 01. 02 is just refresh. We didn't make a change because we don't want to be expired, right? So he had a lot of comments on the 01 text. And then there was another person who got his name is also talking about the same thing. Is strongly suggest to use IPFix element instead of define our own TLV, right? So that being taken care of.
Catherine?
Sure, this is from the Java room. Stefan says he's read the earlier rev, not this one, but thinks we can go ahead with working group last call. And Sam started typing in when we get to bigger packets, and I'm waiting for the rest to come.
What said
It just says when we get to bigger packets, so I think he wasn't done.
Right after. The bigger packet?
That's all it says, when we get to bigger packets.
Right after. Sam.
Thank you, sorry.
Okay.
I'm the new AD.
No problem.
I'm getting up to speed.
It's the next topic.
All right. There's no one in the room, so it's kind of hard for me to do it, plus everything else. Sam says, we discussed the need for a protocol error code at the last meeting. Text was proposed, there was a review on list, and those review comments were addressed. I believe the draft is ready for working group last fall. Thanks.
But this one is for the other drafts, right? For the larger packets?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Sam, which draft is this for? Just to be clear.
I would assume that it's for his draft. I would assume that it is for his draft. His draft.
Bigger packets, yes.
Yeah.
I just want to
So, Sam, we will go on with this draft right after. For the time being, we're still on the IP port configuration and so on. So, I have at least one comment regarding the INR allocation process for the IP fix element. Have you checked what kind of procedure is defined for the allocation of value for IP fix elements? Is it expert review, or there is a need for a specific draft, verification requested, or?
You mean how that works? How the
Value.
how the new IP fix element
Yes.
being proposed, how that works?
No. How they are the value from INR are allocated.
I don't know the detail, but look at the RFC itself. It's just a 16-bit number,
Yeah.
and then sequentially, then you have to provide a number there, and then you have to have a syntax. I mean, for the semantics, what it means.
Yeah, but
That's all.
What's the RFC?
70.
expert review. Okay, so there is no need for. I think
Yeah.
we can. I think so. I will double check, but I think that
Yeah.
we can rely on this draft to say we want to. We don't need a specific action regarding IP fix. Just rely on this
Actually,
draft.
Yeah. If you click on that, that is a big table to show all the current
Yeah.
the elements in the IP fix.
Okay.
So which is proposing as a free model.
Yeah, but as explained by as clarified by Mohamed, I think that the only thing that would be required is an expert review to say that these values are valid and so on. So I think that there is
Right.
no issue. So
And also, sorry, I believe this kind of thing happened before.
yeah.
Yeah. When the
Yeah, but-
IP fix started, it's not that long.
No. It was not something. It was not a limitation. It was just to know the process on how to request
Right,
the
right,
value
right.
for
Yeah.
IP fix elements. Okay, so we have a comment from Stefan saying that this document is okay for working group last call. I think that the main. So I will review also this one. So the last version of the document to provide comment, but it could be done along the working group last call. So it will at least fix a limit in the time for review. It will be a 2 weeks a period. So I will initiate the working group last call right after the IETF meeting. It is easier to manage the process. So, and during this time, Alan will be able also to provide any additional comments.
Okay.
And based on the output of this working group last call, we will see what to do, if a revision is needed, if a new working group last call is needed, and so on. If not, we will submit it, so we will do the write-up and propose the documents for ISG submission. Okay?
Okay.
So this one is down, so it was for IP port configuration and reporting. So the next one in line is the one from Sam, the larger packets for radius over TCP. So we have received already the comment from Sam, so either on the mailing list or right now on the Jabber room, saying that this document is stable for him. It captures all the comment received so far. So the proposal would be to go for working group last call also for this one, so we can announce this working group last call for both documents at the same time. And I don't know if there is any question or concern about launching this working group last call. No question, no comments. At least in the last IETF meetings, people were happy with the content, and there was some willingness to push forward this document. So I think it is along what we have said. So we will go through the working group last call, and we'll see the results of this process. Okay. So this is down for the working group last call. Now, along the new charter proposal, there is, for the time being, individual drafts, and we have 3 of them. So we have the dynamic authorization proxying proposed by Alan, And it is proposed in the new charter to have this document as a working group document for submission as a standard track RFC in November this year, saying that this document is stable and it just needs a review and to agree on the contents. So no reaction since the last meeting, but with the proposed text for the charter, for the new charter, there is ongoing discussion between Peter and Alan on what should be the content, the exact content of this document, or the work item for the working group. Saying that the initial attempt from Alan was to rely on the operator name ID just to be able to perform the procedure in roaming. So I will not go through the details, but Peter seems to think that we need to provide also more information regarding kind of a state management in the proxy, and there is some controversy on that, so we will see what will be the output of that. I don't know if there is any reaction on the ongoing discussion on the mailing list. No. So I think that's it's not. So it means that there is something to do. I think that at least in the Radext working group. So I would say that this document, the work item is okay for the working group. I think that it could be also, it is also okay to rely on this document as a working group, as a base for discussion, and to progress this draft as a working group document. And if there is something to change, I think it will be based on proposal and comment on the current text, and that's all. So it will be at least my proposal. I think that Stefan could be also in line with this proposal. I don't know if he's reacting on the Jabber room.
Stefan just withdraw statement anyway. All other text in the proposed charter seems contentious. I'm sure we can wordsmith around it.
Okay. Thank you. So after that, we have the document on the correct use of EAP response identity. So we have discussed this document several times, especially at the last meeting. It was agreed to work on. So this document was not updated, but from Stefan's point of view, it can be used also as a basis for future work. So we can rely on this document as a working group document and to provide the comments on this document and to see how to progress this document forward. It is proposed after a discussion in the AAA directorate, so expert directorate, I don't even remember the name, but it was proposed to have a kind of BCP, because this one will not be used only for radius, it will be used for diameter, for instance, and also for anyone relying on the on this information. So yeah.
Stefan says, waiting for my doc update until after we start.
Okay, good. So I think this was mainly already discussed at the last meeting. I think it was more of the new charter, but it was just to highlight what's happened for this document. And the last one is the data types. So from Alan's point of view, this document is stable enough to be used also as a working group document. The last version contained all the capture all the comments received so far. No new comments were received, but we can rely on the current document as a working group document. And it is proposed to work on this document to have an informational RFC published after the November meeting. So on these three documents, there is no question, comments, and so on. So we will go on with the overall set of slides from the working group chair. We had a discussion regarding an errata on the RFC 5176. This is the dynamic authorization document. So Alan proposed to highlight a mistake in the document regarding the presence of the error cause attributes, either so for Sierra request or disconnect request. And it was said that in the ACK also the error cause could be there. And this one was agreed by Bernard and Stéphane also, I think, Bernard Aboba and Stéphane. And Bernard raised also the fact that if we correct the section 3.6 to clarify that the error cause could be also present in the ACK, we need also to update the text in the section 3.5 to clarify that this error cause may now be included also in the COA ACK and disconnect ACK packet. So I think it was agreed by Bernard, Alan, Stéphane is okay also with that, and I'm okay with that. I think that the only issue was to how to if only one errata or two errata were needed for that, and I proposed, and Stéphane and I proposed to have two different errata, so to keep the first one proposed by Alan and to add a new one. I think it was already done by Alan anyway, but I will check.
The second one, this is Kathleen Moriarty,
Yeah.
so the second one's been added already?
I have to check. There is a set of errata published on this one, so I don't know if the new one was related to this one or. But actually, the proposal would be to have a new errata for the clarification on the text for the section 3.5.
I agree, that's easier, so thank you for doing that, and just let me know when they're ready, and I'll go in and take care of both of them.
Okay.
Thanks for the review.
So for the obviously for the both errata, the status will be verified. No comments? Okay. So now we go to the discussion on the revision of the charter. I don't know if you have checked, but the current charter is from December 12, 2012. So we need to update the text because a lot of things is now out of date. For instance, it's not required anymore to provide to enforce interoperability between diameter and radius, and we have a lot of things already done. For instance, the attribute space extension, the wireless LAN attributes, the new transport, and so on. So a new text was proposed 1 week ago, and it is proposed to work on this text to agree on the new charter. So all the comments need to be received before the end of this week, 27. But I think it is for the time being a requirement. So sorry, Friday, yeah. So please comment the proposed text. There is an ongoing discussion regarding, as I said, the proxy related mechanism. But please comment the other part of the document, the pro charter. And here you have an highlight of what would be. I will not go through the text, but mainly to clarify now that everything related to radius diameter extensibility is removed. Actually, I'm not even sure that I have captured the right text. The idea was to remove what was removed, but I think that, for instance, the second section was removed, but I will have to check. I think that the main point also would be to look at the proposed work items. So as I said, we have the Sierra proxy, and there is an ongoing discussion on the text here. The main comment received so far is the fact that we should maybe not describe how the mechanism will be provided, and for instance here to say that we will use the operator name. as said by Stefan, I think that we can live either with the text or propose text for that, but I think it will not change the purpose of this work item. And we are working also, we will working also on the rules for the EAP response identity packet for the encoding and the data types. And the larger packet was already in the charts, in the charter, and it is still there. And we have still the reduce attribute IP port configuration and report. So, from a working group point of view, we need comments on that, just to ensure that the charter will reflect the agreement of the working group. And also, some milestones are proposed, and to see if we can go with this milestone. I think we should be able to go faster, but we know also that we take some time in the Radext working group. So you will see that we are not too ambitious, but we need to go forward with this document. And for all the documents, we need review. So it will be my main comment as a new chair of the Radext working group. I think that there is a lot of interesting topics. We know that there is a lot of activities around Radius and Radius extension, but we need maybe more activities on the mailing list and more review, and not only regarding our own document, but also document provided by other members of the working group. And we have for now a 40 minutes meeting, so the floor is open. If you have anything to say, please. Otherwise, I will stop the meeting. I think it was a pity because either Sam and Alan were not able to be in the room, so it will change also the the level of the discussion. But the main point for now is to go forward. So to comment during the working group last call for the working group document and to agree on the charter. It will be the summary of this meeting. So if there is no comment, no question, I will close the meeting and thank you for your participation. And welcome. Hopefully it was a good choice. Yeah, because I am also in the environmental section. That's how it is. And I cannot rely on Uni also. Yeah, I know. Hi, Uni.
Yeah, no.
No, but this morning.
This morning, and that's me. A few minutes ago, I was. Yeah, this one. Now, we are close.
You're so. Focus on. See you. See you. Bye.
At the end.
Yeah.
Somebody sent an email to us. Oh, is there a problem?
I think Sharon will have to do something because we book a flight for today and he asked for to move the station and I said it's a no.
I wonder though, they're not, so I might.
Yeah.
Right. Maybe.
Yeah.
I already have. Steven's gonna go to John.
We said we will bring John.
Right, right. I'm fine with that, whichever. Yeah, this is up for a while. What was that? Am I always reasonable? That's